North Dakota State Extension economist Frayne Olson is our market analyst this week. Of the top 18 corn-producing states, only Texas is ahead of its normal planting pace. The USDA's latest progress report also shows Nebraska, Colorado, and Pennsylvania matching their 5-year averages. For the U.S. winter wheat crop, 54% is rated good to excellent, 3 points lower than a year ago. We know American wheat acreage has declined. The USDA's projections show 2017 will be an all-time low with data back to 1919. But the U.S. is one of the world's largest suppliers, accounting for about 15% of the global trade. Shipments from October through February were 33% higher than the previous year. Mexico and Japan were the top 2 buyers. We talked with Frayne Wednesday morning about wheat exports, corn and soybean planting progress, and winter wheat condition across the country.
In general, winter wheat conditions are in pretty good shape. They're a little bit better than last year. Again, last year at this time we did have some concerns about dry weather, in particular as we get into western Kansas and eastern Colorado. But the rain systems that we've been coming through the last week or so has really been helping out. As we get into the eastern portions of the winter wheat belt, actually winter wheat conditions are pretty good for this time of year.
Prices were decent in mid-February, at least compared to where they are now. What are your overall thoughts on where they go from here?
Yeah, what's been helping us out is the export pace this year has been better than last year. And again, last year was a horrible export year for us in the wheat complex. This year's been a little bit better, even though we've had very strong world supplies. The prices have been low enough. We've been getting stronger wheat export sales. That has been helping us. The winter wheat market is really the one that's taken the beating. Spring wheat prices have held up a bit better than the winter wheat complex has. So, I don't see any major changes. There's a few things internationally we're paying attention to, at least keeping an eye on. Later on this week, we'll be getting some planting intentions report out of Canada. Canadian wheat acres are expected to be down. There's a few little weather problems occurring in Europe. Europe is a very large wheat producing region, so we do have to pay attention to that. They're not to the levels yet where the market's really concerned about it, but it is something that's kind of showing up on the radar screen that we got to at least keep our eyes on.
With that winter wheat harvest a couple months away now, are there any real storage issue concerns? I don't know about in the rest of the Corn Belt, but specifically in your area when it comes to overall storage capacity?
Yeah, we've got a pretty good carryover of not only spring wheat, but also corn. And I've been talking to some elevators the last couple months, I guess, that we've had some storage issues with our corn. Some of they ended up in temporary storage, and of course those are the areas that have the most concern. I think farmers have been watching the most closely. One of the challenges, usually we have a very cold winter up here, so we got a built-in deep freeze, and that works pretty well for storing grain. But this last winter we've had these wider swings in temperatures. We'd had some very cold spells, but then it would warm up and get much nicer. And those temperature variations are causing some concerns, not only for the temporary storage, but also some of the permanent storage we've got. And so I've heard of some elevators and some farmers having to split some bins or haul some stuff in a little bit earlier than they had expected. Again, part of that is because the grain that came off last fall, in particular corn, was good moisture levels, but a little bit higher than you'd like to for long-term storage. So we are hearing of some issues starting to show up. My suspicion is if we get into spring planting, some more of those issues may show up. We're going to have to wait to see again how quickly we're able to get the grain moved through the system this summer. If we have another really big crop again next summer and into fall, we will have more storage issues, and there's going to be more temporary storage put outside.
USDA's prospective plantings report showed North Dakota would plant about 1 million fewer acres of wheat this year. What crops are benefiting?
Well, the big shift was away from spring wheat and durum and into soybeans. We had about an 850,000 acre increase in soybean plantings, if at least planting intentions. If those numbers are correct, 2017, North Dakota will be the 4th largest soybean acreage state in the U.S., which is a pretty phenomenal feat when you think about it. So the big shift again that we're seeing, we'll have to wait to see again how much seed actually gets put in this ground. If we have a really nice spring, we may see a little bit less soybean planted, a little bit more wheat. But again, we'll wait to see. The planting intentions was for a major shift away from the wheats, in particular spring wheat, and into soybeans. Our corn acreage was about the same as last year. We took a little bit of a reduction, but not significant.
Corn planting off to a slower start than usual across the Corn Belt. Any resulting impact on prices?
Right now, not so far. We're still early in the season. Again, given the size of equipment and the planting progress that farmers can do if the weather turns nice, the markets really aren't concerned yet. We are watching it. I mean, it is something that people pay attention to, but again, given the size of equipment and the technology we have today, we can put seed in the ground very, very, very quickly. And I think right now the rains we've been getting through, in particular the western Corn Belt, with some of those drier pockets that were showing up, I think the rain is actually looked at as a positive thing, try and recharge some of those soil moisture conditions, and so when we do get the weather, get the seed in the ground, and hopefully it'll pop out and get going.
For those still holding old crop corn and soybeans, what are your thoughts?
Best chance we have is some kind of weather problem, and realistically that likely will not happen until we get into July time period, especially for corn, probably a little bit later, July, early August into soybeans. We're going to have volatility the rest of the growing season. People will be watching what's going on, but if they get those weather rallies, please take advantage of them because there's a lot of world supplies available.
Do those thoughts hold on new crop as well then?
Yep, new crop as well. For both cleaning out some old crop, but also for new crop, I would really focus on the old crop sales, especially for corn. Make sure you get those cleaned up, because if they're not, we are going to have some, again, storage issues as we move into harvest.